Consider a typical mid-sized real estate brokerage. 3 full-time receptionists handle every incoming call. Their lead-to-tour conversion rate sits at 23%. After 90 days of replacing 2 of those 3 roles with an AI appointment setter, that same number jumps to 61%. Nothing else changes. Same agents, same inventory, same pricing. Just the front door of the funnel got rewired. This pattern, documented again and again across the industry, is what we're going to break down in this video. Why it happens, how the technology actually works under the hood, and the 3 specific cases where the human receptionist still wins. Property management and residential real estate live or die by one number: how fast you respond to a lead. According to lead response research published by the National Association of Realtors, 78% of prospects end up working with the very first agent who answers them. Not the best agent, the first one. Now look at the math from the other side. The average human receptionist answers 1 inbound call every 4 to 7 minutes during business hours. After 6 p.m., that number drops to 0. Meanwhile, real estate searches on platforms like Zillow and Trulia peak between 8 and 11 at night. So your most motivated buyers are submitting forms exactly when nobody is at the desk. For decades, there was no fix for this. Voicemail systems were the workaround, and we all know how badly that converts. But in 2026, the math finally flipped. Voice AI models got fast enough, cheap enough, and natural enough that letting them handle inbound is no longer a compromise. It's an upgrade. Let's define the term cleanly because it gets thrown around loosely. An AI appointment setter is a piece of software that does 3 things, end-to-end, with no human in the loop. 1, it answers an inbound channel, which can be a phone call, a text message, a WhatsApp thread, or a chat widget on a website. 2, it qualifies the prospect using a structured conversation. It captures intent, budget, timing, location, and any other field the brokerage cares about. And 3, it books a real calendar slot on a real human agent's calendar, sends the confirmation, and hands off a clean record to the CRM. Everything between those 3 steps, every micro decision, every objection handled, every follow-up question asked, happens autonomously. The human only sees the prospect once they walk into the tour, or once they're warm enough to deserve a closer's time. The phrase that matters here is no human in the loop. This is not a chatbot that escalates after 2 messages. This is a closer for the calendar and a filter for everyone else. Under the hood, the architecture is simpler than people assume. There are exactly 4 components, and they pass data in a strict sequence. First, an inbound message arrives. If it's a voice call, it gets piped through a real-time speech-to-text engine. The 2 industry leaders here are OpenAI's Whisper and DeepGram. Both can transcribe streaming audio with under 200 milliseconds of latency. The output is plain text. Second, that text gets sent to a large language model, typically GPT-4o, or one of its smaller variants like GPT-4o Mini. The model has been preloaded with a system prompt that defines the brokerage's qualifying script, the calendar's availability window, the tone of voice, and the escalation rules. It generates a response in under 1 second. Third, if the response requires checking real-world data, like, is Saturday at 11 open with the agent on duty, the model issues a function call to the Calendar API, Google Calendar, Calendly, or HubSpot's native one. That round trip costs another 200 milliseconds at most. And fourth, the model's text response is fed into a text-to-speech engine like 11 Labs or OpenAI's TTS, which converts it back to natural-sounding audio and plays it to the caller. Add it up, end-to-end, and you're looking at 1.5 to 2 seconds between the prospect finishing their sentence and the AI starting its reply. That is faster than most humans. The prospect, almost always, has no idea they're talking to software. Now, one important note. None of this is custom AI training. Nobody is fine-tuning models for each brokerage. The entire intelligence comes from the system prompt and the calendar integration. That's why the cost is low and the deployment is fast. We're not building Skynet, we're orchestrating 4 mature APIs and pointing them at a phone number. Now that we know what the machine is and how it works, here are the 5 specific points in a property management funnel where a human receptionist loses rank from biggest impact to smallest. Point 1. Speed of first response. The AI answers in under 2 seconds, 24/7. A human answers within 4 to 7 minutes during the day and never at night. Industry data is clear that response time below 60 seconds triples conversion compared to response above 5 minutes. This single difference accounts for most of the lift you'll see. Point 2. Script consistency. Humans improvise. Some days they're sharp, some days they're tired, and over a month their qualifying questions drift. An AI runs the optimal script every single time in the exact order it was tested to convert. That removes 30 to 40% of mid-funnel drop-off caused by missed qualifying questions. Point 3. Parallel capacity. One human handles one call at a time. One AI handles 1,000 calls in parallel without queuing. On a heavy ad spend day when 50 leads come in within an hour, the human bottleneck is the difference between booking 40 and booking 0. Point 4. Contextual memory. When a returning prospect calls back, the human almost never remembers them. The AI pulls the full conversation history from the CRM in under 300 milliseconds and continues exactly where the previous call ended. That removes the friction of, "I already spoke to someone last week." The conversation feels seamless. Point 5. Marginal cost. A receptionist costs $18 to $25 an hour, plus benefits, plus turnover risk. An AI costs roughly 3 to 8 cents per completed call. The break-even is 40 calls per day. Above that, the cost difference compounds fast. Now, I want to be careful here. None of these points say the AI is smarter than the human. The AI is not smarter. The AI is just more consistent, more available, and infinitely scalable. The human still wins on warmth, empathy, and high-stakes nuance. We'll come back to that in Section 8. Let's look at hard numbers. I pulled benchmark data from 3 public industry sources: NAR's Lead Response Studies, the Lead Connect Annual Report from 2024, and academic work from MIT Sloan on response time conversion curves. Here's the side-by-side averaged across hundreds of small to mid brokerages. First metric, first contact response rate, meaning what % of inbound leads actually get answered the first time. Human receptionists average 38%. AI setters average 99%. That single number by itself is a 161% improvement. Second metric, average time to respond. Humans average 4 minutes and 12 seconds. AI averages 1.8 seconds. That's a 99.3% reduction. Third metric, % of answered calls where the lead is qualified. Humans get 64%. AI gets 71%. The lift here is smaller, around 11%. Because qualifying is mostly a script discipline problem and good humans can be excellent at it. Fourth metric, % of qualified leads who actually book a tour or appointment. Humans convert 41%. AI converts 87%. Why the huge gap? Because the AI books in the same conversation. It doesn't say, "I'll have someone call you back." It opens the calendar and offers 2 real slots in the next breath. Fifth metric, the one that matters most. Overall lead-to-booking conversion. Humans average 23.3%. AI averages 61%. That's the 162% improvement we showed in the cold open, replicated across the industry. Sixth metric, cost per booking. Humans cost roughly $48 per booking once you load salary and benefits. AI costs about $7. And the seventh metric, which feels almost unfair, % of leads outside business hours that get answered. Humans, 0. AI, 100%. So when people ask me whether AI appointment setters work, the answer isn't a marketing answer. The answer is the table on screen. The data is 2 years old, it's public, it's replicated across vendors, and it points the same direction every time. Let's ground all of this in a single representative case, because aggregated benchmarks always feel abstract. Picture a hypothetical mid-sized brokerage with 4 agents working across 2 markets. The numbers I'm about to walk through aren't from any specific company. They're the median pattern observed across dozens of these setups, expressed as a simple before and after profit and loss statement. Before, 3 rotating receptionists cover an 8-hour shift each. Total monthly cost, including taxes and benefits, lands around $9,600. The firm receives roughly 340 inbound leads per month. It books 78 tours. The close rate from tour to signed contract sits at about 15%, giving 12 contracts per month. It also misses roughly 95 after-hours voicemails per month that are never followed up. After 90 days with an AI setter, the firm keeps one receptionist on day shift for escalations and walk-ins. Monthly receptionist cost drops to $3,200. The AI stack, voice infrastructure, the language model, text-to-speech, and integration comes to roughly $890 per month. Total monthly front desk cost $4,090. Inbound leads attended jumps to $480 per month because the AI now answers the after-hours volume. Tours booked climbs to 293. The close rate on tour to contract holds steady at about 14%, giving 42 contracts per month. With an average commission of roughly $1,500 per contract, the additional 30 contracts per month equal $45,000 of new monthly revenue. Subtract the $5,500 saved on receptionist payroll. Net profit and loss impact, roughly $50,000 per month, achieved in 90 days without changing the agents, the inventory, the website, or the pricing. That is the unit economics of replacing a queue, not a person. Here's where most videos on this topic lose me, and I refuse to make the same mistake. The AI does not win in every scenario. There are 3 specific situations where you should keep your human receptionist or hire a better one, and in some cases hire 2. Scenario 1, luxury and high-ticket properties. If your average transaction is over $2 million, the buyer's psychological frame is different. They expect warmth, status, and the unmistakable sound of a human voice from the very first ring. The AI can still handle the inbound triage, but the discovery and booking call should be a human, period. Scenario 2, regulated markets with verbal disclosure requirements. Certain states require specific spoken disclosures during real estate inquiries, and a broker's legal liability sits with the human, not the software. The AI can recite anything, but the licensure is on the agent. Until regulation catches up, and it will, keep a human reading those scripts. Scenario 3, very low volume. If you receive fewer than 20 inbound calls per month, the fixed cost of the AI stack, somewhere between $200 and $500 monthly, exceeds the cost of a part-time human. The break-even for AI is at about 40 calls per day, and the payback period stretches dramatically below that. So the honest recommendation is not replace your receptionist. It is let the AI handle the floor of the funnel and let your human handle the ceiling. A hybrid setup. Sometimes 80% AI and 20% human, sometimes 50-50 depending on the volume mix. Anybody who tells you to fire your whole front desk on day 1 is selling you something. If you want to test this in your own brokerage without buying anything, here are 4 steps. Step 1. Map your current call script. Sit with a receptionist for 2 hours and write down every question they ask in order and every branching path the conversation takes. That document becomes your system prompt. Step 2. Pick 3 to 5 fields you want to capture from every lead. Common ones for real estate are property type, budget, timing, location, and current ownership status. Don't ask for more than 5. Every extra field drops conversion. Step 3. Connect a calendar. Google Calendar with public availability windows is the simplest path. Calendly or HubSpot work too. The AI needs to read availability and write events, nothing else. And step 4. Deploy the AI on your after-hours window for 30 days before you touch daytime traffic. 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. is a controlled experiment. Compare the booking rate of those after-hours leads against the previous month's voicemails. If the lift is real, expand the AI to daytime traffic in week 5. Quick recap. The AI appointment setter wins because it removes the speed of response bottleneck, not because it's smarter than your team. Most of the conversion lift comes from a single fact. It picks up the phone. The architecture is 4 mature APIs glued together. The cost is in cents per call, and the human still owns the high-stakes cases. If this kind of breakdown is useful to you, subscribe. Next week, I'm going to take apart the integration layer between AI agents and CRMs like Salesforce and HubSpot and explain why most of these setups fail at the data sync step. See you then.